Hello everyone, my name is Jenny, and we have a full moon coming up this Saturday on the 28th of October, around I think 9 p.m. if you're in the Berlin time zone. And yeah, it's a special full moon because it's also an eclipse, and it's the second of this eclipse season. So we had an eclipse with the last new moon, and now we're having an eclipse again. And maybe you've been feeling a bit strange in between these two moon cycles, because this energy is an intense one. It's an energy that can radically shift our perspectives, the path, how we're walking our paths. And it may be a time in which it could feel hard to know exactly what to do, because it's also not about moving forward just yet, but about accepting and doing the inner work so that we can then be moved forwards by life. We have this full moon with the sun in Scorpio and the moon in Taurus at about 5 degrees. And what's special about this moon, I think, is also the sun is in trine. The sun is in a sextile to Lilith, and so Lilith is in a trine to the moon. We have this Lilith energy in Virgo, and I think it's going to play an important factor in this moon cycle. I feel that we are really touching the topic of being able to trust our bodies and what our bodies need, and our intuition, and being able to physically detect that intuition, but also having a good rational, logical, mental intention to support that process. And I think it's a time where we are revisiting the topics of independence, and in which areas do we actually crave more independence and are able to be more independent, but maybe we felt a lack of faith, a lack of trust. Maybe we have been feeling like we're not being in the benefit, or we are not protected enough to be able to pursue this, or that we don't deserve it. I feel like this is also revisiting feelings about what we deserve and what we don't deserve. And it's a moment where, with the sun in Scorpio, we are also being more aware of our psyche, our internal process, and our creative energy, our sexual energy. That is creative energy. That is life force. We also have, in the sign of Scorpio, Mercury and Mars, and they're in conjunction. So they are unifying themselves right now with the mental capacity, with being able to give and take information, wanting to process that information, traveling through the perspectives. And in Scorpio, this is a really deep process. So this is acquiring information that has maybe been long lost, or that has been hidden. It's about receiving hidden information, and with Mars, it's about taking action through that hidden information. And this is in a direct opposition with Jupiter and in Taurus. And with this energy, I feel that this is this topic of trust. So what actions do we take? What information do we trust? How do we trust the signals of our own body? How do we feel protected enough to move forwards? And what is our bigger intention of moving forwards? Which information makes us act in certain ways? And understanding the mental patterns that are connected with this. So how are we sometimes even forced to act in a certain way? Does that align with us? Does that not align with us? And how can we make choices that are more grounded into wanting to be benefic, wanting to be giving, loving, wanting to be protectful, but also understanding the boundaries that are necessary. Where is excess taking place? Where is too much too much? What do we want more of, and how much of it do we really need? So I'm also sitting here with the tarot, and I'm going to ask the tarot some reflective questions. I have here the Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I love using because I've been connecting with it very long, so it's very ready to communicate with me. And then I also have here the Motherpeace tarot, which is a beautiful, beautiful collection of art. And since we haven't done that already, I'm going to ask everyone to just close your eyes for a moment if you feel like that, unless you're in a situation where that would not be good. But if you can and if you want to, I invite you to close your eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath with me. In and out through the mouth. Let's do that one more time, breathing in deeply. And out. Let's ground ourselves into the space. When we use the tarot, we want to set an intention for the messages to come through. We want to set an intention that these messages are here to guide us to perspectives. I'm just shuffling. Are here to guide us into perspectives that open up our potential, that open up our capacity to understand, to love, that support us on our journey, on our destiny. And we want to give thanks to the archetypes, to the knowledge, to all of the beings before us that have carried and shared this knowledge, and the knowledge within us and within all. So the first question I'm going to ask is, what is the main topic of this full moon eclipse right now? What is the main message, the main topic? What is the focal point? And the other question I'm going to ask is, what will help support the process of our inner sun at this time? I'm going to use this deck. What will help support the process of our inner sun? And what will help support the process of our inner moon at this time? So the focal point of this eclipse is this card. It is the Nine of Swords. This is what it looks like upright. We received it in reverse. I feel like this energy is really speaking about the topic of despair, about the topic of grief. It relates to also very much the dream realm. And we have the rose on here. We have the 9. These are very powerful, potent symbols of destiny, of reaching fulfillment, of being able to grasp a deeper secret, a deeper knowledge, a deeper sense of understanding. And it's oftentimes when we don't have that deeper sense of understanding that we feel tormented, that we try to understand, or that we get stuck in a process of grief, and in a process of pain. And I feel like it's really about understanding how we are influenced. I think in this cycle we are really reaching a deeper layer of understanding the influences that create our state of being, how we feel. And if we feel good or bad, and if we can sleep or not, if we have nightmares or not. So I think in this process we understand better what are the things that influence us to our core. How do they get into that core? Do we have a filter? Do we have something filtering that out? And what is it doing with us, this information? What is it doing with us, this emotion, this feeling, this thought pattern? Because we've reached a moment of culmination. We've reached a moment of completion. So when we complete something, when we have the knowledge, when we have the awareness, we're usually then able to apply that awareness. It's oftentimes when we learn things, it's not about learning it so that we then never use it again. It's about learning it so that we continue to apply it. So now we've already learned very much about our thought patterns and how things are connected. So when we reach this moment of culmination, it may be a peak, because in order to fully close the cycle and move on into the next phase, we apply now what we've learned. And it's a moment of grief. It's a moment of grieving. If you are grieving right now, or if you know people who are grieving, and you would like some reflections and some support, some messages of hope, for that, you can watch a video that I just shared a few days ago. You can find it here on the channel. And yeah, talking about grief. It's a very collective process happening right now. And I think this is really about finding the fruit of the rose within that grief. So the fruit of the rose is also what happens during it's the fruit of an alchemical process. And it's very much about understanding what is at the core. So we can ask ourselves, what is at my core? The core of my feeling. Why does this touch me? Why do I feel this way? And each question brings us an opportunity to learn something about ourselves, to learn something about your passion, your mission, your reason for being, your desire to act. And it can bring you closer to taking the actions that are in alignment with your reason and fulfilling that desire, fulfilling that purpose. It's about not, right now is a time that is not about getting stuck in fear and despair, and really understanding how thoughts are connected to each other. So when we understand how thoughts are woven together, creating sensations, creating feelings, creating emotions, we can also become better weavers. And we can pick and choose thoughts and weave those thoughts together. And we can create a different fabric. We can create a new fabric. And this is the fabric of that is beyond time and space. That is the fabric of existence. That is the fabric of the present moment that we are co-creating. And I think this is a moment where we become better weavers. It's also a card pointing us to astrology right here. I don't know if you can see this, but in between the roses there are these astrological symbols, the signs of the zodiac. So it's also a moment where we can seek guidance by understanding something about ourselves, also through watching ourselves through different archetypes and sitting with them, learning about them, and noticing what resonates with us and what do we feel connected to, and utilizing those connections to support us in the process of grief, to support us in the process of loss. I think it's also a moment right now where our identities are shifting and we notice that things are no longer as they have been. We've been in a process of shifting from one place to another in our lives collectively, but the collective and the individual are mirrors. So we've all each been feeling this moment, and now is the moment where we notice for the first time maybe we are not the same anymore. Maybe you don't enjoy something anymore that you used to enjoy. Maybe you don't have a goal anymore that you used to have. Maybe you don't give yourself a certain label that you used to give yourself, and it may be hard letting go of these things, even though it may be very fruitful, and maybe it is even what you want and you consciously know that, but there's still a process of needing to emotionally process and digest it. So I'm going to look at the card about the process of our sun, which is our process of identity. And we have here the Tower. And I was just feeling this card as I spoke the last sentences, because the Tower has also been coming up this week, and this is a moment that I just spoke about. This is the sun, this is our identity, our selfhood, the way in which we express and how we want to be seen, but also what drives us forwards, what moves us forwards. And this is a moment where it seems like everything's falling apart, everything is breaking, everything is wild and intense. And this card especially, we even see here an eclipse happening. So we see here an eclipse, and the Tower in the ancient tarot is called also the lightning, which shifts the perspective. It's not anymore about the structure that is crumbling, but it's about the lightning that is causing all of this. It's about this energy, this source of energy. That is a primordial energy. The lightning represents the white primordial light, the spiritual light. And that light is infusing. And due to that infusion, things are changing. Things cannot longer be the way they are. And this is a natural process of evolution. We don't want things to be always the same. We are naturally changing. And this change is natural. It cannot be avoided. So the question is, what do we do with it? And this is also a moment where, as you can see here, this figure has these like lines coming out. It's also, the lightning to me represents the Kundalini energy. It can be a moment of awakening. It can be a moment of breaking free from your towers, from your mental towers, from the towers that have been blocking you, from perfectionism that you had that just kept you from moving forwards, or from certain ideas and belief systems that you've had that have just made you do certain actions that are no longer aligned and then resonating with you. And it's about, I think, awakening also our senses. With the Scorpio energy, it's also a moment of deep, deep intuition. And that intuition is very present right now in our mind. We can rationally and cognitively connect a little bit deeper with this intuition. And understanding that the more we open up our senses, we may not be able to continue living as we have been living this whole time, because we have more awareness. Things feel different. They actually feel different. You might taste differently, and that might lead you to changing how you consume food. You might perceive touch differently, and that may change how you touch and how intimate you are with others. You may hear and see differently, and that may change your light preferences, or what kind of music you listen to, or how loud it is. So these are all physical changes that happen due to our bodies changing. And understanding the blessing in it. Because if we continue seeing it as a curse, then we continue feeling like we are being tormented. Understanding that this gives us the blessing of fire. And fire is warmth. Fire is energy. Fire is being able to survive in the cold. Fire is heat and movement. It's motor. And it's also protection. It's the card number 16. So that is also the energy of the magician infused with the energy of the lovers, or of the two paths, or the twins, how this card is sometimes called. So it's about understanding these two seemingly different things that shall be combined, and by understanding the elements beyond them, beyond understanding, beyond what's on the surface, and understanding how to navigate that, and understanding how to utilize each moment. So any tower moment, anything that is breaking away, what opportunity is this? When we continue focusing in on understanding what is actually the opportunity of this, we will be more receptive to solutions. We will be more receptive to acting on solutions, and those receptors are more open because we feel more relaxed, but also because we show a willingness. We show a willingness to the positive. And where our attention goes, energy flows. So if we show a willingness to the positive benefit, our energy also goes there, which means we will notice those things more. We will be open to receiving information that is connected with what is positive and what is beneficial. That does not mean that there are not things that may not be beneficial, or that it is not also a negative thing happening from another perspective. We're at a time right now where we are implementing the understanding that we have already reached, that we are navigating a world of polarity, and our consciousness is opening up, and we are rising, and we are able to understand what is beyond that polarity, the unity, yet we still navigate that polarity. We're still here. So more and more we are learning actually how to hold opposites, how to rebalance, and how to utilize that to become magicians. Understanding how navigating those opposites changes if you begin to choose one side, if you begin to choose one other side. And understanding the causes and effects. The tower may seem like a very intense moment, but what comes after the tower is the star. And what comes right before the tower is the Black Magician card, also called the Devil card, the 15. So right before the tower, we feel temptation. We feel we're being tested. We feel like things may be so intense that we just need to go into our old patterns, our old structures, or that we will be very much inclined to act and behave in a way that may not resonate with our core anymore, that may not resonate with our hearts anymore, but that just seems like the only thing to do right now. But the moment in which we shift out of that, break free from that, all of the structures that have been holding certain things into place will break free, and it will be chaos. And after that chaos comes the star, which is the guiding light. And that comes from within. And it's the same guiding light that has been carried already with us through different moments of the process. We've had this light always. And yeah. Let me read from the guidebook, because there are so beautifully written messages in here about this tower card, because I'm very interested in what it says. So it says that the god goddess is called to be with the people, sitting on a tower knowing that it will soon crumble. And there's no time to consider the danger or consequences. So there was a minor interruption, which is quite interesting. First of all, it's a moment to take this perspective and apply it. So not something to despair about, but simply something that gives us an opportunity, in this case, for me to get more water. And it also kind of connects with what we were just talking about. With the fire giving us warmth, and also we have Mars in Scorpio, which is kind of like water being heated up, and this disruption was related to a water heater being fixed. So now there is warm water that was not working before. So now the warm water is working again. The water can be heated up again, and that warm water can bring relaxation. So that's something beautiful. But let me get back into the tower that I was just reading from this book, because it's just so beautifully written and I would like to share. So these cards are about the goddess. So it says here, the goddess is called to be with her people. She's sitting on a tower that she knows will soon crumble. She has no time to consider the danger or consequences, because she is struck by lightning. Already the world has changed. They are in the middle of a solar eclipse. The people wait below. As the lightning strikes, she has a vision. She tells the people how to get to their new home. The tower shatters the old foundations and can feel like the rug is pulled out from under her feet. If she is like a cat, she can land feet first and unhurt, although her landing will be harder and less graceful. Nevertheless, this is a dramatic change in the core of her psyche. The change may be external and striking like lightning. She is shocked by how different she feels, and there is no going back. Sometimes the tower is a strong and sudden upwelling of life force, chi, or kundalini energy in a sexual or creative way. So this is very much relating to what I already felt and shared. And it's beautiful to have this card in an eclipse, because this is exactly what's happening. And it's nothing to be afraid of. I feel like the words sudden fate or disruption or change or no going back may feel intimidating, but we don't want to go back. We want to go forward. And when we embrace that, we can realize that going forwards can be beautiful. I have one mantra that I like to apply when it's hard to accept that change is good. Sometimes the mind isn't ready for that. I just change the words a little bit, and I tell myself change can be good, and change has been good. So there has been change that has been very good, in fact. And so sometimes it can really be good, and that allows me to soften up and surrender more into the benefits of change. So the last card is related to the supporting the moon's internal process right now. And we have here the 9 of Swords, which is in fact this card once again. So it's a different version of the card, it's a different artwork. So this 9 of Swords is very, very present. And these cards are really aligned with the eclipse. We have an eclipse showing here, and we have the main focal point being the moon, because it's a full moon. So the moon is fully illuminated by the sun's light, and but then it's disrupted. This is what an eclipse is. The light that we see in full shine is suddenly disrupted because the earth is directly in the pathway. So for a moment we don't see that light anymore, and then it passes. And that's why these eclipses are moments of sudden disruption, because that's exactly what nature is showing us right now. And as we know, the outside reflects the inside, and the macro reflects the micro. So we have all of these different levels in nature where we can look to, and they all reflect to us information about the bigger existence. And we can look to the microscopic landscapes and understand something about the cosmos, about the planets, and we can look to the planets and understand something about our emotions and the psyche, and we can look to the psyche and understand something about plants and nature, and it's a beautiful web that is of information that is connected. So we have here again the 9 of Swords, and in this card it almost looks like there's this energy. It's connected to trees, it's connected to willow trees, which again is kind of like a moment of mourning, of crying. It has a lot of different figures here represented, mythical figures, different elements, snakes and spiders and flowers. And everything kind of seems wrapped around. To me, it feels like a person having a vision, but that vision is kind of tormenting them. It feels like having nightmares. It feels like being wrapped up in thoughts. So when there's so many things and then your energy is wrapping itself around all of these things, then they also cannot leave you. So sometimes we also really desire change and we want to support change, but we don't understand why the change is not coming, and it's because we are holding on. And sometimes, or most of the time, change and healing does not require bringing things from the outside into us that are somehow lacking, that are somehow not there. But most of the time, it's already there, but it's hard for us to notice it, to feel it and connect with it, because we're holding on here and here and here and here and here all at the same time, and we're kind of wrapped and stuck. So what we then need to do, we don't want these old things anymore that are tormenting us. So we let them go, and we let that go, and then we have more space and more clarity to feel what is actually already here, to feel what is inside of us already, what is in the field already, what we can notice and see and witness already. And it's also old connections. It's connections to your body. It's connections to concepts, to mental concepts. It's connections to your identity and your way of acting. And I also feel like labels that we give ourselves and labels that we give other things. Because these labels are words, and words are spells. And spells are magic. They're creation. They have an energy. And words carry a lot of meaning. And sometimes words carry different nuances of meaning to different people. Or there's different words for the same thing that all have a different nuance. And we have a lot of complexity around words and labels. So understanding also how these words and labels are affecting you, how they are altering you on a mental level, and understanding how you can intuitively connect with your body, maybe without even needing some of those labels and words, how you can intuitively be guided physically from the heart space, from your inner shining wisdom, without needing to give everything a label and putting everything into a box. And understanding how different physical things nourish you, how different physical labels and boxes nourish you. Understanding how to work also in the dream realm. I feel like right now is important. We do have the sun in Scorpio, and the Scorpio is everything that is hidden, that is obscure, that is occult, that is in depth, and that includes the dream. It includes this kind of underworld terrain where things don't always follow the normal rules. This is why we sometimes can't make sense of our dreams, because in the dream world we may suddenly shift morals and do things that we would never do in the real world, or we will not understand how things work because the laws of nature that we know don't apply in the dream. And so it can be a scary place. And when things are happening in the world where we also suddenly don't understand why the morals have shifted and why things are suddenly being done that should not be allowed, or why there are so many things that we are afraid of. It's again about understanding acceptance of the experience and then letting go of the negative connections we make about that. Becoming more receptive to understanding what is the opportunity here. What is this showing us? What is this showing me? And honoring the feeling, honoring the mourning and the grief, honoring tears, honoring anger. That is energy that is making itself available to us. It's energy that is cleansing. It's energy that is available as motion. It's energy that is available as creation. It's life energy that is available to us. I would like to read as well this card from the book so that we have balance. And let's see what it says here, the 9 of Swords. And Swords is the air energy. Some people interpret it as earth energy also. Can also be air. And yeah, it's a very dual image. It's a double-edged sword. So our thoughts can really do damage, and they can also heal. And our thoughts also become a foundation for our feelings and actions. So this is a power, and that power comes with a responsibility. We have here the 9 of Swords, and in the book it says, "A woman has a series of bad dreams and wakes up to face them. She experiences fear either through nightmares or negative thoughts. Demons or shadows are active in her psyche or mind. This is a chance for her to know what scares her. She may feel vulnerable and have a low capacity for dealing with fear, or she pushes a confrontation with what she fears. She looks at each of the fears one by one in a deep process of turning demons into allies. She understands the positive use of something she has feared inside herself. Power or energy is released because she is no longer controlled by fear. That's a beautiful message. It also connects very much with what I already said. I remember that there's a story about the willow tree that I don't remember, and I think I read it in the in a book called Women Who Run with Wolves by Clarissa Pinkett Smith. I hope that's the right name. And I remember there was one story about the willow tree. It was related to mourning. And I'm not sure how that story goes, but if you feel resonating with this, maybe research it, and maybe I'll share some information in the description box. Because I'm also feeling this willow tree, and this is kind of like a river, and reading stories and fairy tales and myths can sometimes help us activate certain areas in the psyche. So it's a great way to integrate things. And when we have associations that come up for us in each moment, it can be a very personal contributing factor to integrating something right now in the psyche. And fairy tales and myths are also beautiful. They're a very scorpionic way of doing that process of self-analysis, of psychology, and philosophy, because they are oftentimes conveying information in a subtle way, in a hidden way, in a symbolic way, using symbols. It's kind of like dreaming, because the dreams also do that. We dream about a symbol, and we don't even know, like in our waking life, we didn't even know that symbol means that. When we do some research about it, that symbol is in classical dream analysis connected exactly to that process we're having right now, exactly to that emotion. And somehow our body, in the collective subconscious and intuitively, could bring forth that symbol, and we are able to utilize it if we start looking, and if we are willing to open up to hearing actually the information, honoring it, and being grateful for it, because it's a gift. Being able to perceive and being open and receptive to understanding the opportunities. I feel like that's my main message for you today. Yeah, this has been the main message flowing through. Understanding the opportunity. And understanding is also a very interesting word, because understanding, and it was brought up once in a book about the underworld and the dream realm, because it's this understanding that we reach when we go into the underworld and we have a completely different perspective about something. And we look at it from down to above. And then we can understand. Because we're not looking only from one way, but we're also looking at it from the other side. And that's the side that we don't usually look at. So this underworld for you is probably the perspective that you don't usually have. And that's being hidden from you, that you're hiding from yourself. But now is a moment of surrender, of awakening, of embracing, and allowing these changes to occur, and being careful not to fall into the trap of despair. Instead, utilizing our emotions as information, recognizing them as information to better understand what is it that I want to bring into the world right now. Who is it that I am willing to be right now? What is it that I care about? Why do I care about it? How will it benefit me and the collective of things? How is it in the best interest for all things in life? And trusting, connecting to the trust. Thank you so much for listening. These were again the cards. I hope that you are able to have many moments of awakening and understanding that with changing body, changing circumstances, we really want that change to come, so allowing it to come naturally. I hope that you feel supported and guided. I hope that you can tap into yourself, your own knowledge, take with you what resonates and leave behind what does not resonate. I hope that you feel a sense of gratitude and grounding, and that you can take some time for yourself to integrate. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. It means a lot to me. And it's a great joy and a pleasure and an honor to be connecting with the cards in this way. If you wish to connect with me, you can find my information down below. You can contact me if you wish to receive some personal guidance. And if you want to share anything in the comments about your process, I would love to hear from you. I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful moment. And I hope you'll come back. See you soon.